Serious. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon was just found guilty of contempt of Congress. How do you feel? Like he won't serve nearly enough time in prison. I'm sure he is shaking in his boots at the slap his wrist is about to receive. Crimes where the punishment is a fine is only a crime for the poor. Laws that aren't enforced against the wealthy and powerful aren't laws. Just wondering how much rich white guy time he gets to spend free before sentencing. Usually around 6 months. Pretty sure his plan now is to appear before the committee and use that as a way to mitigate. Which will work. Because again, rich white guy. Dude really needs to be put up against a wall. But then so does everyone who conspired with Jan.6. If Donald Trump was found guilty of raping, murdering, pillaging and cannibalism, his sentence would be a finger wagging. Do not bother me with shit until they are wearing prison jumpsuits and trying not to get shivved. These guilty verdicts mean nothing unless actual consequences are attached. He'll almost certainly go down as a martyr. Stay in a cushy white-collar prison with the ability to trade on the stock market and watch football. And then get out and back to work in less than 5 years. If he goes anywhere at all. I wish there was a way to not make a hero out of someone. You can already hear people crying out tyranny and building the hero story for poor rich political prisoners who never get punished in an authoritarian government we supposedly live in. Like guilty was the only honest verdict, he received a congressional subpoena and didn't show up. Any more schadenfreude and I'm going to need a cigarette. Hopefully it's just the start. It's a start, I suppose. Enjoying the thought of him going through severe alcohol withdrawal in prison. He deserves it because he thinks he is above the law. I just hope he is the first of many. As others have pointed out, it feels empty. A slap on the wrist, however. It's a guilty sentence. That is justice-shaped. Justice adjacent. Perhaps. He didn't just walk away. Lock him up. Vindicated. Now sentence that scrotum. I would say, couldn't happen to a more deserving asshole. But I can think a few people who are more deserving. That it was well deserved. How I feel depends on if he faces any punishment or not. Regardless of sentence and punishment. He's definitely intelligent enough to know he's been at the top of the game mere years ago and now nearly entirely irrelevant. And knowing he knows that, and how much it must hurt someone basking in their own importance, I'm pretty happy. Because I'm a petty fool and want to see them all be very sad indeed. I feel like we had a rule specifically against, how do you feel about, questions, but the mods clearly don't give a shit. Thank God they're at least punishing someone for something. Political theater is tiresome and nothing ever changes. Cool. Let's stop sucking our own dicks for catching him and keep going. One corrupt asshole down. Thousands left to go. Good. He was clearly guilty of the charges brought against him. Elated. Hopefully his lies and obfuscation will filter up the line to the previous president. Like it did not take a whole committee to figure that. I don't pity him, but Bannon is just another carpet installer, drywaller, caterer, armed insurrectionist, or any other schlub that Donald Trump played all his life, till his last day. Monica Lewinsky pointed out that this trial was a good thing because unlike Bannon there were lots of people who couldn't just walk away from a subpoena. And they couldn't afford the lawyers that they had to hire in order to obey that subpoena. You go broke trying to get representation that keep you out of harm's way. A sensible country would remove him and his co-conspirators from the body politic by imprisonment or expulsion for long enough that they are not longer a threat. That means they need to be removed at least through the next presidential election cycle. And for as long as they continue to take steps to continue. And make mouth noises about continuing their attack on our peaceful and democratic process. Failing that, the punishment for this contempt should take into account the severity of the context and his lack of remorse, and that this is a continuation of a conspiracy to obstruct of which Bannon exercised a leadership role. Even though he received a pardon for some of the prior crimes related to that conspiracy from his co-conspirator. I feel sorry for his cellmate. Is his skin contagious? A. Was this ever in serious doubt? Everyone knows what he did. He did it in public. His entire defense was, I did it. But I didn't think it was that big a deal. B. If anybody gives a single shit about this white supremacist fuck losing a trial, they need to reevaluate their priorities. C. He's not going to get anything more than a slap on the wrist. These are all games to him. He's using the entire legal process as a way to manipulate media. He needs the book thrown at him. Hard. Preferably straight at his head. I don't care unless he actually gets that orange jumpsuit. Laws don't tend to have teeth when it comes to people with money. Not good enough until he gets 20 years for treason and attempted murder.